Welcome to Ask the Expert with noted radio host Steve Sleeper. Each week, Steve interviews entrepreneurs and professionals and shares their intriguing stories of success and service. Now, here's radio veteran Steve Sleeper.
Our guest today is Chris Zachar with the Zachar Law Firm in Phoenix, Arizona. Chris, how are you today?
I am well, thank you very much.
Good, good. Hey, tell me a little bit about your firm and yourself.
I am a good, hardworking Midwestern boy. I grew up in Iowa. Moved to Arizona when I was 20 years old to go to school. Went to college at ASU, graduated from Arizona State. Back to Chicago for my first year of law school, where I studied hard, and at the end of the year, I was actually number 5 out of 310 students in my class. That was good enough to get me back out of the Midwestern winters and back out to Arizona, the University of Arizona Law School down in Tucson. I graduated from there 2 years later. Moved up to Phoenix, worked for a personal injury law firm my first 3 years, and then decided to venture out on my own. Opened my doors in January of 1996. So we're in our 23rd year of practice here in Phoenix. Our focus is personal injury and wrongful death. It's all we do. It's all I've ever done. When we opened our doors in 1996, I had one partner and one secretary. And now here, almost 23 years later, we are 5 attorneys strong and 22 support staff. So a firm of approximately 27 people, all focusing specifically in the areas of personal injury and wrongful death.
If I've been in an accident, let's say it's a car accident, why do I need an attorney? Won't the insurance company take care of me? Well,
that's what insurance companies certainly want to make you believe. They say it on their commercials. You're in good hands, like a good neighbor. But let's be honest. If you really were in good hands and they really were good neighbors, then attorneys who do what I do would be out of a job. We wouldn't have anything to do. If insurance companies did what they say they do on their commercials, then there'd be no need for people like me. And I know a lot of people who do what I do because insurance companies are really out for one thing, and they're out to watch after their bottom line. They really have 2 goals. Their first goal is to pay you nothing. And they will do anything they can to a certain extent to try to pay you nothing. When you're involved in an accident and you call them up and you report the claim, and they say, well, let's get your version of the events here. I'm going to turn on the recorder and I need to get a recorded statement from you. And you say, well, no, I don't know if they want to do that. They'll tell you, well, we can't even open a claim unless you're going to tell us what happened. That's complete garbage. They want to get you on that recording because they're going to be the ones who are going to be framing the questions and hopefully getting answers from you which are going to help them down the road, help them to pay you nothing. And if the circumstances of the claim are such that they're going to have to pay you something, then their second goal is then to pay you as little as possible. So insurance companies are out for their own bottom line. They're in the business. You're not. They do it every day. This may be the only accident you've ever been involved in. You're trying now to operate in an arena which you really know nothing about. You need an attorney. You at least need to talk to an attorney, get yourself educated, and then decide which way you're going to go. But you're operating in an area that you're not familiar with, and like everything, good luck to you if you're going to do that.
A lot of landmines.
Well, you're right. There can be, and they create the landmines. They know where they are. You have no idea where you're stepping. You don't know what to say. You don't know what not to say. And if they get you on that recording saying something you shouldn't, that's a bell I can never unring. That's a mistake that I can never undo. It's been recorded now for all of posterity, as long as your case might exist, we just prefer that not happen.
What should a person look for in an injury lawyer?
Well, that's a really good question. I will tell you, from my standpoint, look for an injury lawyer who has experience. Look for an injury lawyer where the focus of their practice is personal injury. There's so many attorneys now who advertise for injury cases who really don't do it as their primary focus of law. You look in the yellow pages and you'll see ads for divorce attorneys, and they handle divorces and they handle child custody disputes, and then at the bottom of their ad it may say, we also handle serious injury cases. Well, they really don't, but they're trolling for them because everybody thinks they can make money off injury cases. So I guess the first thing I would look for is an attorney who's got experience, but a law firm whose focus is injury and wrongful death law. The second thing I would want to avoid, honestly, is I'd want to avoid any of the big advertising firms. Buses, billboards, bus stops, TV, radio. The problem with those firms is that they've got a huge advertising budget to support. So they need to bring a lot of cases in the door. And the one thing I can tell you is that personal injury cases they're pretty labor intensive. They take a pretty decent sized staff to be able to work a case up the right way. And those big advertising firms, they're not putting money into their staff. They're putting money into their advertising. But then they've got to support that advertising budget. So they bring in a lot of cases. They want to get the cases settled as quickly as possible. Settled as quickly as possible really means settled really as soon as they can with whatever the last offer the insurance company will make. Get it settled, put a few bucks in their pocket, put a very few bucks into your pocket, and move on to the next one. And they can't afford to hire litigation staff. They can't afford to litigate cases. So recap is experience. Look for a firm that focuses only on personal injury and avoid the big advertising firms.
What's the cost?
With our firm, the cost is none. We handle all the injury cases that we decide to take. We handle on a contingency fee, which means a percentage of whatever the recovery is at the end. We never ask our clients for any money. If there are costs which are going to be incurred, we front those costs, and then at the conclusion of the case, after we actually get the recovery, we will take a percentage and we will recoup those costs as well. At the same time, if something were to go just awry and something were to go south and there never is a recovery, then our clients owe us nothing. And we put that in writing right up front. No recovery, no fees or costs are owed by the client.
Let's say I'm driving up to the grocery store and somebody runs into me. It's not my fault. Now, you already mentioned that, you don't want to make a statement to the insurance company, but are there any other things I should keep in mind for an instance like that? Well,
in the circumstance you gave me is a car accident. So my advice to people, if you've ever been involved in a car accident that's not your fault, wait at the scene and call the police. Because after having done this for now more than 25 years, I believe that in the wake of an incident like that, in the wake of an accident, in the wake of the circumstances, everybody at the scene is typically a little bit more honest. Everybody at the scene is typically a little bit more apologetic. And with calling the police, waiting for a police officer to come and actually talk to the people to take a report, you've got a better chance of the at-fault driver telling the officer honestly what occurred and having that recorded in the report. You get away from the scene, and then this person who caused the accident without a report goes home, they talk to their spouse, they talk to a brother, they talk to a buddy, maybe somebody they work with, and they can easily devise a way that the property damage that occurred to the vehicles occurred, but changing the circumstances of the accident where now they're trying to escape fault. Seen it a lot. Very familiar with it. It happened to my dad twice when I was growing up. And so the advice I give to people in the context of your question is, if you're involved in a car accident and you're not at fault, as best as you can, wait there at the scene for a police officer to come and actually take a report, because it will typically make things go a little bit more smoothly for you in getting that case resolved.
Chris, this has been a lot of good advice. Is there anything else we should know?
I think we've covered most of it. I tell people and I tell my clients, if you've been in any sort of injury-causing event, attorneys who do what I do typically, we don't charge any money for a sit-down. We don't charge any money for a telephone consultation. Even if you're not sure what you want to do next, well, pick up the phone and call me. Let's talk about the circumstances, talk about what happened. I'll tell you what I know. I'll tell you what I think. I will even make recommendations as to what I think you should do next. Doesn't cost you anything. I mean, if you're thinking about venturing into an area that you don't know much about, then why not take a few minutes to at least get yourself educated and then make the right decision? It doesn't cost you anything, and if you decide ultimately to hire an attorney, if you decide to hire me at that point in time, great, we can help. If you decide you're going to go it on your own, best of luck to you, but at least you go forward having a little bit more education, a little bit more information, and maybe it'll work out okay. I don't know. What's
your phone number?
My phone number is 602-494-4800. You can also find us online at www.Zachar Associates. That's one word all run together, ZachAssociates.com. We can be contacted through our website. You can email me through my website. You can pick up the phone and call me, and we've got people here 24/7 to take your call and take information from you.
Our guest today is Chris Zachar with the Zachar Law Firm in the Valley of the Sun. And hey, Chris, thanks for being on the program today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to Ask the Expert with Steve Sleeper. Join us next time as entrepreneurs and professionals share their intriguing stories of success and service.